So this is video 4 of 5. Now I want to look at the Mars, Jupiter, Pluto conjunction together. Rarely do you get a conjunction this strong. In order for something to be this strong, you have to have at least 2 of the outer planets in the same place. And it does seem that over the last few years we've had a lot of these. We've had back in the 80s, we had the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. More recently, just earlier this year, we had the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. Of course, a few decades ago, we had the Uranus-Neptune conjunction. If we go way back into the 60s, we had the Uranus-Pluto conjunction as well. But it does seem in the last few years, with Saturn conjunct Neptune, Saturn conjunct Neptune, incidentally, in Capricorn in the late 80s. Saturn conjunct Uranus in Capricorn in the late 80s. Uranus conjunct Neptune in Capricorn in the late 80s, early 90s, mid-90s even. And now Jupiter conjunct Saturn conjunct Pluto in Capricorn in 2020. And then earlier this year we had the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction close to Pluto with Mercury exactly on top for a couple of days. And now we've got the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction with Mars on top. All of these things, all of these big conjunctions happening in Capricorn over the last few decades. Bearing in mind that Capricorn does deal with order, structure, government, boundaries. It does seem as if the way the world is run, or the way the world appears to be run, is going through a number of big changes, constantly and ongoing, but bigger than ever at the moment. And I'm afraid it doesn't seem to be as if they're going in the right way. As far as the old astrologers who were waiting for the time when everyone would be one community and there'd be no boundaries, then the events of the last few weeks or even days have put paid to that one for the time being. But to have Mars conjunct Jupiter and Pluto together in Capricorn, it is a snapshot. It is a moment in history that will go down in the history books. It is a time where extremes of behaviour are being seen to be demonstrated and are happening. It is a time where absolute power is being exerted. Whether it is in some countries that are on absolute lockdown, no one in, no one out. Whether it is countries confining their citizens to their accommodation for their own good. Or whether it is in countries such as, for example, Russia, where there are no cases of coronavirus and no cases of HIV and everything's perfect. It's a matter of control and controlling the media and controlling the appearance to the outside world, to be seen to be strong enough to be doing something. And yet my contention is that despite all of these efforts at control and power and governance, that this is marking the end of the old structures as we have always known them. For millennia, we've looked to the churches and the governments to cater for our needs whilst we've been working in the fields or working in the factories. But now more and more people are becoming self-employed. More and more people are working from home or working shifts. And the old needs are being supplanted by a more modern need, which unfortunately it seems that the regulating authorities of the world are not adapting to. Nowhere near as fast as the people on the ground anyway. And the emerging technological revolution is only accelerating this process, keeping pace with the emerging spiritual revolution as well. If there's one thing I find that's hopeful from all of this stuff around the virus, is that in every community that is locked down, people are singing, people are doing DJ sets from their balconies, people are shouting to each other and joking, and you can't keep humans down. Humanity has a sense of humour. It has the ability to laugh through adversity. And most government officials seem to be pompous people who don't want anyone to have any fun. They just want to sort of keep everyone in order. And it is my firm belief that anybody who wants power should not be given it. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. The Mars-Jupiter-Pluto conjunction of this next few days is going to be seen as one of the times it's going to be rewriting the rule books in the ways that humanity is governed, both individually, collectively, and nationally stroke internationally. And the days of the old patriarchs are now beginning to totter. Not a moment too soon, in my opinion. As the Mars-Jupiter-Pluto conjunction begins to fade away around the 25th, 26th, 27th of this month, you may think that, okay, that's it now, the peak of the panic is over. But there's a sting in the tail. And that's going to come up in the next video.